Hey everybody, I'm back. Got a bunch of questions from some people yesterday, and we're going to go over some of those. My name's Tonya Shepherd Hatfield. I'm a nurse practitioner. I live here in Floyd County in Kentucky, and I've been in healthcare for about 25 years. Somebody brought it to my attention that I hadn't been saying that. I just assumed most of you guys that were watching would know me. Okay. There's not been a whole lot of changes in what's going on. Everything's kind of cooking about the same. The governor has shut down a few more of the, I've got like 20 pages of notes here. The governor has shut down a bunch of non-essential retail. And a lot of people were asking about what all those were. I mean, they're leaving the Walmarts open, leaving the dollar stores open, the gas stations are open, essential places like that. The rest of them can still be open, but they're curbside only. Liquor stores are still open. A lot of people's like, I can't believe a liquor store's open. Well, it's kind of almost like a necessity. That's a medicine for some people, and we can't be filling our ICU beds with alcoholics and withdrawal right now. The governor has issued the Healthy at Home. He's not done a shelter in place yet. That's where they want everybody just to go home and stay home. Nobody gets out and does much of anything. There's a lot of the states that are around us right now that are doing the shelter at home. I don't know what Tennessee's doing. From what I can tell, they've not done much of anything, and their numbers are climbing pretty fast. So, okay. Some information that I want to get out here before we get started on some of these questions is there's a lot of, excuse me, there's a lot of hotlines that are out there, and one of the ones here locally is the one with the ARH. It's the ARH COVID-19 hotline. It's open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. It kind of gives you an idea of what ARH is doing around here and how you need to proceed with that. I don't know when they're going to be doing all the testing and everything on people, but I'm pretty sure that's coming to where they'll have the drive-through testing. I think Dr. Hannah's office in Prestonsburg has already started some of that, but I don't know the specifics on that. I don't know if that's just for his patients or how that's working. When ARH gets started doing it, it'll be for everybody. But that hotline, to know what you need to do when you need to go to that hospital for whatever, you call this number. It's 606-439-7100. There's somebody there to answer your questions. So if you've got any questions about this COVID stuff, especially for our area, ARH is all over our area. So if you have any questions, that's the number that you call for local information. The map that I used in the last video, the one that I monitor with all the numbers for the coronavirus, it's all over the world. You can break it all the way down to the United States and look at our active numbers and the number of deaths that we've had totally and everything. This is the website for that. Let's see, can you see that there? The coronavirus.jhu.edu/map.html. That will take you straight to that map that I look at all the time. It's always on my computer. So another one that Governor Beshear has set up with Team Kentucky is the COVID. Let's see, what is it? The COVID-19. This is that information. This is your website. This is your number. This little paper is on this. I printed this from that website. It tells you when to stay home, when and where you can call for advice, and when to seek care. It says if you are sick and feel like you are having an emergency, that's when you call your doctor or you seek medical care. Hospitals and medical staff across the Commonwealth are standing ready to serve you. So if you're sick and you're at home right now and you're freaked out thinking you might have this coronavirus, if you're no sicker than what you would normally be, to go to the hospital, then call them and see what they want you to do first. Now, we've got a lot of addicts in our area. They're everywhere. And they depend on their meetings. And right now with all of this social distancing, they can't get together and have their meetings like they want to. So in our area, I don't know about the other areas outside of here, but this is the phone number for our Grassroots NA. This is our area's NA. Call that number. One of the people that helps with it, these are volunteer people too, so call this number if you need help. They will direct you and inform you on what they are doing about their meetings. They're not getting together. I think they're doing some online stuff. So if you need help or if you need a meeting, give these people a call. Any questions, you can contact me. Okay. Now, we all know I preach about social distancing. Wash your hands. Don't pick your nose. Don't pick your friend's nose. Keep your fingers out of your mouth. My hands are clean. Some of the questions that I got asked. Okay, one of them is a question I want to throw out to everybody else. And this is stuff that I don't know. Somebody asked me this yesterday, and I do not have the answer. I don't know if anybody has the answer to this. But what is everybody doing about co-parenting right now? Like, you know, mom or dad, however, every other weekend, all that kind of stuff. What, and I don't want to hear about the people that fight and argue. I want to know what the families are doing and how they are working this out to protect their children. Healthcare workers that I am associated with across the nation, a lot of the healthcare workers have actually, the ones that's on the front lines right now in the bigger cities and stuff are outside their home. They're staying out. They're staying away. They just stay away. They got their kids or with their grandparents or dad's sleeping in a tent in the yard, or they've pulled their camper somewhere. And I know one of our local nurse practitioners was talking about that the other day. We was looking for campgrounds. We was looking for areas to park campers for these doctors and nurses and respiratory therapists, these healthcare workers, all of them, for them to stay away. So they don't have to go home and pack this to their children or to the rest of their families or wherever. So this is all kind of a thing. What is everybody doing about the co-parenting? Our youngest one, we co-parent with her mother, and it doesn't matter which house she's in. She's got healthcare workers in both of them. So here we are. Okay, another question that somebody had asked me, Beverly threw this out to me, if somebody catches this virus and they get better, can they get it again? It's not really been out there long enough. We don't know. Usually when you catch some kind of disease, virus, bacteria, whatever, you build up some kind of immunity to it. But this one, it's not been around long enough. We don't have any information on it. We don't know. We don't know yet. I don't know if anybody's been better from it long enough to get it again, and then we know what happens. Angie asked me this morning about these drive-throughs at these fast food restaurants. You know, what about using the drive-throughs and all that? Well, you've got other people handling your food, handling the bags, handling the money, handling your cards. We have to put a lot of trust in them that they're washing their hands. I'm pretty sure that they're cracking down on that inside too. That I'm sure they're staying right on top of that. I mean, they're probably getting preached to about every 2 minutes about wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. I don't eat fast food. My family, we don't use these drive-thrus very often at all. So I don't know. I cook all the time. If you can cook at home, then I suggest that you do that, but that still entails you going to the grocery store. So, And another thing, grocery store, you people wearing gloves at the grocery store, unless you change your gloves between every single thing that you touch, every time you touch anything and you change your gloves, that is the only way that these gloves are helping you at all. It's just, you're wasting a pair of gloves. Just wash your hands when you come out of the grocery store. Get the hand sanitizer, wash your hands, whatever you got to do, just wash that off. Throw away your bags that you bring home from the grocery store. They're talking about that it can stay alive on plastic and stuff for, hours, days. I saw an article this morning talking about they found it 17 days later on that one of them cruise ships. Like, I don't know how true all that is, but that's the kind of stuff that's coming out, because we don't know for sure. These guys are trying to figure this stuff out just as fast as they can, but there's information coming from every which direction, and we just don't know. The safest thing for you and your family to do is your social distancing and washing your hands. Pour your shoes off before you go back into your house after you've been out somewhere. Don't go out unless you have to. Use hand sanitizer when you can't use soap and water. Wipe off the things in your house. If you bring groceries or bring things in from the outside, isolate one area there and set it down, like if it's groceries, your kitchen table or whatever, and put everything away, and then throw all your bags away and wipe your table back off. You can Lysol the inside of your trunk of your car. President Trump said yesterday, he did mention in his speech that there was 99% of the deaths around the world are greater than the age of 50, and most of those have multiple pre-existing conditions, and that can be anything. Any kind of disease. You got diabetes, you got heart disease, you got vascular disease, high blood pressure, you got autoimmune diseases, lupus, Crohn's, rheumatoid arthritis. There's all kinds of things out there that can be considered a comorbidity. And when they say that, that's just whatever you've got wrong with you right now. You're probably medicated for it. So you will be more at risk greater than the age of 50 with multiple comorbidities. I've not seen the numbers this morning. We'll find those out when Andy comes on at 5. But yesterday evening, there was 124 confirmed cases in Kentucky, and that was up by 21 cases from the day before. I know we've had a few more since they reported that. I know we've had one confirmed in Martin County. My heart goes out to my Martin County people. But it's there. It's been there. It's going to be everywhere. These numbers are going to keep going up because they're testing for it now. They're starting to test for it now. Our local hospitals don't have that many tests yet, but they're coming. And so the more they test for it, the more we're going to see these positives. It's just going to happen. That's inevitable. That's just how this works. So don't freak out because your neighbor's positive, or the little girl down the road is positive and she'd been traveling. Just don't do that. Do not shun these people that get positive, because I guarantee somebody in your household or in your close family is going to be positive before all this is over with. So just stop all that. It's kind of like lice. It's not a shame to get it. It's just a shame to keep it, kind of thing. So don't give it away. If you know that you have it, go home, stay there. Don't be one of these crazy people that's out here and they got to put the police at their door to make sure they stay home. What? Oh, I don't get that. I don't get that. Why would you want to go out and make somebody else sick? If you don't know that you've got it, then that's one thing. But if you know you got it, then you stay at the house. The goal for the healthcare community is to test everyone. Testing everyone and knowing the positives and the negatives and who has symptoms and who don't have symptoms, that is how we're going to come up with the data on how all this works and how this is spread and where it goes and all that kind of good stuff. Right now, the swabs that they're doing, they are a nasopharyngeal access. So that means there's a swab about this long and they stick it up your nose and rub all the way in the back, all the way back to the back of your throat. And then that swab is sent off and checked. That's once they get to the point where you're tested for corona, because there is a protocol that they have to go through to even get to the point where they're testing for corona. You got to be checked for flu, you got to be checked for strep, you've got to be swabbed, and then checked for a respiratory panel. So they look for all of this other stuff first, and then when all of that comes back negative, then they send that swab out to be checked for coronavirus. So they look for everything else first. And that's how they have to do it right now, because there's just not enough tests yet. When all these tests come in here, then that's not going to be that big of a deal. Everybody's going to get it. And they're looking at those rapid result tests where they do it in like an hour. So that's going to be great. When they get that, that's going to be great. And all you freak out people sitting around waiting for 3 days, it's going to help a little bit with that. The local PPE situation, that's the masks and the gloves for the healthcare workers. From what I was told yesterday, it is a little bit better because they released the stockpile that they had in the emergency preparedness stock. So our hospitals right now and locally are in decent shape for that. Now, you still got all these bigger hospitals that's out there. I mean, I remember when we were doing H1N1 and we actually had some active cases, that the amount of PPE that we went through, it was just bags and bags and bags of trash that we had. I mean, boxes of gloves in the shift, depending on how many times you had to go in the room. You know, there was some of them that we would just put a nurse in the room, shut the door, and she stayed in there. And then one of us other nurses would do her running for her. You know, if she needed something, she'd come, she'd holler at us, we'd go get it, take it to her. And that's all fine and dandy. That may come to this with this virus and all that, but our healthcare workers are going to get sick. We need to protect these people, so they need this PPE. So don't be out buying it. Don't be hoarding it. Don't waste it. Let's see. I've not seen any questions fly across this thing. It's hard for me to do this and talk at the same time. Y'all know how I like to talk. Some of the other things other than comorbidities and your pre-existing conditions, one thing that you got to remember around here, because this is a pneumonia, this is a virus that attacks the lungs, and we've got all these COPDers, we've got all these smokers around here, and we got these old guys and gals with lungs full of coal dust. So they're automatically, anybody with any kind of a lung condition, especially if you're older, is going to be at risk. Kids don't seem to be as much at risk unless they are immunosuppressed. Now, somebody asked me about kids with asthma. I don't know exactly the answer to that, but I know an adult with asthma, you get anything in there that gets their respiratory system started up, it could be bad. Kids' immune systems don't react the same way that an adult's does. One of the things that this thing does is it will, this virus, you get this virus in your upper respiratory tract, and it irritates and causes inflammation and issues in your respiratory tract cells up high. Those cells, they slough off, they kind of fall off, they go on down to the bottom of the lungs, and they get all gooped off down there in the bottom of their lungs. When your immune system recognizes that, it sends all of its little fighter stuff in there. You will start running a fever, your blood vessels dilate, and you've got more fluid, more of your white blood cells. You've got everything, your whole immune system is going toward this area of inflammation and irritation. And when that happens, sometimes it sets off, the immune system just goes kind of crazy. And it's called like a cytokine storm. And this doesn't happen to everybody. This is where the comorbidities come in. If your immune system has that little panic attack and it throws itself into that cytokine storm, then that's when it activates the other pre-existing conditions and comorbidities that you have to set those off too. So you've got lung issues, it throws your blood pressure either through the roof or drops the bottom out of it, it gets your heart all out of whack. I mean, it just, whatever it decides to do. Your kidney disease, Lord have mercy, you people stay in the house. Let's see. But when it does that, and you've got all this extra attention in the lungs from your immune system, I mean, with everything clogged up down there, everything is all inflamed and swollen and engorged with fluids, and you've got all these fluids that are rushing to your lungs will literally fill with fluid, and it seeps right out of your vascular system, which is right there. Your vascular system's right there because the oxygen goes into your lungs. It has to cross through that part of your lungs that's inflamed and screaming into your bloodstream. When that oxygen gets to your bloodstream, it goes to where it needs to go. But when you've got this type of a pneumonia down there causing this, it can't get there. That's why these people are smothering. That's why they have these horrible pneumonias. They're working on these cures. They're using antivirals, they're using anti-malarials, they're using antibiotics, they're using all kinds of stuff. I don't know if they have anything set in stone yet as something that cures this. Like I said, it's not been out there long enough. So we're still looking for our golden goose when it comes to this, to curing this. Does anybody have a question here? I'm trying to learn how to do this live video and watch these little things over here. I can't really see who all's on here. I just see people whenever they say something to me. I haven't figured all the rest of it out yet. Like I said, right now we're still doing social distancing. We're still trying to stay home. He shut about everything down, so don't go out unless you have to. Wash your hands, take your shoes off outside, assume everything has cooties, assume you are infected and you don't want to infect anybody else. Just assume you're already infected and you don't want to give it to anybody else. So that way you wash your hands so you don't put it on anything. You cover your mouth when you cough or you sneeze. The tissue that you cough or sneeze into, throw it away. Don't keep it in your pocket. Just get rid of it. If you cough into your sleeve, as soon as you can change your shirt or whatever, do that. Don't be hugging on people. Stay 6 foot away from people. Be safe. Drink water. Everybody drink your water. I know there are people buy pop by the thousands of cases now, but y'all, my patients know that I am anti-pop. So let's see. I don't see any questions coming up there right now. But I did throw out that question about co-parenting. If you all have any ideas about, what are you doing? What are you doing that's working? Tell me that. I don't want to know what you're doing that's not working, because people, when it comes to co-parenting, there's all kinds of ideas about that. We're going to get through this, just like Andy says, and we all have to work together, though, to do this. We have to quit going out in large groups and hanging out at the flea market and all that to keep from infecting everybody. Our churches are supposed to have their doors shut, but that's just the doors of the buildings. They're going online. They're, taking phone calls or FaceTime, and they're still doing all that. I mean, Lord have mercy. We need Jesus right now. And they ain't want to restrict you from it. They just want to try to keep you away from each other to keep you well. So these pastors that are still opening the doors and bringing in big congregations, you're not helping your flock at all. Remember these numbers. This is the Kentucky number. Now, if you want something more local, to talk to a local person, that sounds like me, then let me find it. Here it is. This is our ARH hotline. They're local too. I do not work for ARH, but we all gotta work together with all this. This is our ARH hotline. It's 606-439-7100, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Somebody will answer that phone, and they will talk to you. This is the Johns Hopkins Map that I use and review. If y'all want to go and take a look at it and peck around on it, it's interactive, so you can change it around and look at stuff, and look at numbers, and they keep this thing up to date. I mean, all the time. All of the hospitals around are preparing for this. The hospitals in Lexington are preparing for this. We've got Chicago hospitals, your hospitals, all your big hospitals are ready and are getting ready for this. I don't think any of us are ready for this, but we're going at it full force. Be nice to your nurses. Just everybody hang in there. Everybody help each other. Go shop for your neighbors. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. There. Okay. I don't know what just happened there. Told you I'm not good at this. Help your neighbors. Go ask them if they need anything from store. If you're going out, ask your neighbors if they need anything, especially your older people. When you go get it, take it, sit it on their porch. Don't take it in their house. Let them come out and get it. Your shoes. Just assume your shoes are covered with cooties and do not wear them back in your house if you've been out. So keep throwing me the questions. If I don't know the answers, I'll look them up. I hope I've covered a little bit today and been helpful. Pray for us all. I pray for everybody. I pray for our healthcare workers. Pray for our doctors. Pray we find a cure for this. I pray for our president and pray for our governor and those that don't know any better. So, till next time, everybody. See ya.